This add-on here, this is one of those ones that you don't really need it in any particular way, but I do have a Ferguson, does have a spin-on filter adapter, and it makes a world of difference when you're doing a service on the machine. So this is why I'm going about this one. It's not any kind of performance upgrade or just making my life a little easier is all. And if you wanted to rate any of these projects as far as difficulty is concerned, this one here, besides the copper piping, getting all that lined up and dealt with, this is a really simple modification to make if you were looking to start on something small and move your way up. The copper pipe, I had already been over this machine once before, put in fresh pipe. I'm only changing very small amounts of it when adding this, so this would be something to consider if you're a little new to it and you're not looking for something super challenging. And it would be really easy to put this back on if you get a little flustered halfway through and decide you don't want to go all the way through with it.
That's it.
Always leave some time to dry fit, because things don't always go the way you want them to.
It hits on that corner.
The problem I'd run into there is where that freeze plug or Welsh plug or water jacket plug, whatever you'd like to call it, where that sits in the block is raised out. So that filter housing wasn't sitting flush against the block because of that raise in the freeze plug casting, I guess you could say. So I ended up finding some washers that were the same thickness as the outcrop of that freeze plug housing. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm pushing the mounting points away to kind of make everything even, so it's not putting too much stress in any one place. Seems to work out well. Look at all that fancy new hardware. Isn't that nice? Anytime that you can do that, you're taking one of these apart and the older hardware is not looking fantastic, change it out. It's a couple cents. Go to Tractor Supply, Fastenal, something like that. Now we're getting into the only part of the job that I would say is finicky. Is you're looking at, that's the copper pipeline that's going to run pressure from that housing out and around to your governor housing. So that line was just a little bit longer than it needed to be. I don't want too much of that copper sticking out up front, but I don't want it touching the block as it wraps around the front of the block. So I'm going to trim a little bit off here and pop that in, tighten that up. That's pretty much it for that one. Nothing too complicated. Just a little pipe cutter, and that's it. This is what I'm using for copper pipe. I think I picked this up at Lowe's or something like that. It's what I've been using for the majority of the machine when I'm changing stuff out. Soft, it's easy to form, move around, seems to work pretty well. It holds the pressure. I think that machine runs at around 12 psi when it's really cranked up. Nothing crazy, so you're not looking for super high pressure line. I had a small piece of steel pipe in there on that old filter housing, and I have a little bit of a gap to bridge right there, so all I'm doing is making a piece to make up that little jump, and then putting that in, tighten everything up, and then basically the entire job.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
All the brass fittings that were on that housing ahead of time, I went to Lowe's and picked that stuff up the day before. You're looking at, I think the threading in this housing was 1/8 NTP, and everything else is just 1/4 inch compression. So it's just a little elbow down there at the bottom, goes 1/8 inch up top, and then 1/4 compression out the side. And then out the side is the same thing, just without the bend. It's basically all you're doing is adapting the threading to 1/4 inch compression. And then stick your copper in and smush it down. That's it. As long as it doesn't drip, you're in good shape. And a little trick for making your life easier is I just take all this stuff into Lowe's with me. I took that aluminum block for the filter assembly there right into Lowe's, threaded stuff into it, make sure I got everything that I needed. It was going to fit properly, so there was no confusion. So the wonders of this contraption here is that's just a nice simple spin-on filter. Easy to get. I think I got that one off of Amazon for like $2. Now anytime I go to do a service on it, spins right on, spins right off, and I'm ready to go. So if you like this, if it was useful to you, consider hitting that like button, and see you next time. Thanks.
Kitty, kitty.